Can I just start with your team news, please? Are you able to bring us up to speed how you're looking ahead of the trip to Leicester?
Yeah, we're hopeful. We lost Big Wayne before the game the other night. Turned his ankle. That's settling down, so we've got a bit more hope in that one. Connor Roberts has got a minor thigh situation on his way back from injury, so he wouldn't have figured anyway. He needs a bit more game time, as does Kevin Long. But Kevin Long's training fully out with the players now, so he's getting closer to full fitness. Other than that, just a few knocks and bruises, nothing too major, I don't think.
I'm guessing Jay Rodriguez's 4 goals in midweek has given you something to think about as well.
Absolutely. We've created a lot of chances this season, I feel, of quality. Putting them in is the hardest job in the game, I believe. So don't get me wrong. There's no pressure from me on that. I always think strikers the toughest role on the pitch. Jay Rod's come in and delivered without a doubt. It's not an easy thing scoring 4 goals, and he did it well. Apart from the last one, he did it with aplomb. So it's a good thing to have for us. Someone who wants to go and certainly try and grab the shirt. And with his performance the other night, he's done himself no harm at all.
You've obviously yet to win in your opening 5 games, but I think you're in a pretty similar situation last season and turned it around really successfully. Is that something that you can kind of like an experience you can lean on from last year?
I think experience is helpful. I pretty much think there's always been a calmness to how we work, or certainly how I work. And I think that goes through the players. I think their understanding of their performance levels, because I think they feel they've been playing well. I certainly do, generally. Of course, there's been some moments that need changing, quite obviously. And I think there's a belief pattern here that suggests that we are a stronger, certainly a competitive outfit, which we have been, and we know the margins, and we've got to get them right. So I think there's a clear-mindedness of the group to understand where we're at. And to take on the next challenge. And, tough challenges. They're all tough challenges in the Premier League. Leicester done great the last couple of seasons. Slightly slower start this season, but they're still a very good outfit.
You mentioned there's moments or things that need changing. Sean, what are the main issues that you think need changed this early in the season?
As much as anything, it's details. Often football comes down to details and margins and, a couple of goals have gone against us, which we could do better with. A few chances have gone awry, which we should score with. And usually, everyone will tell you that both boxes are the most important thing. The middle part is still important, never more so in modern football and brand and the way people think the game should be played, etc., etc. But all managers, all coaches, all players will tell you both boxes are where it's at. So we've got to make sure that we're fine-tuning in both boxes to add to a generally half-decent, at least decent, in my opinion, level of performance.
Just finally from me, on that theme, Sean, you always look at the end of a match, win, lose or draw, you always just look pretty calm. And you sound calm just now, despite obviously where you are in the league table. Is that something you've learned over the years at Burnley, that you've become more comfortable and you know what you can do and you know what the players will be able to get out of?
I think somewhat management teaches you that a little bit. I think I'm a bit like that. I don't get too high with the highs, low with the lows. I take whichever way it comes and try and process it, try and make sense of it, try and share my view with the players and how we can move forward. And that's the key, always looking to move forward. It's a job of a season for me. It always has been. That's always been my mentality when I was a player as well. I wasn't looking to have one good spell. It's can you have a decent season? We have got experiences when it goes against us. A lot of teams in the Premier League will have a spell this season when it goes against us. You've got to change that, and that's down to us. So I don't think, it's just an opinion of mine, but I've never thought that panic really helps much. I've never really thought that I always think that calmness helps more than anything. And belief as well. Belief in how we work, the belief in how we operate, the belief in how we train. And I've got ultimate belief in all of them things.
Thank you, Sean. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Keith. Naz,
Excuse me. There's no volume.
Oh, hi, Sean. You okay?
So I'll do your job, shall I? Shall I ask you the questions as well as telling you how to turn your computer on?
Sean, the win the other night was key, wasn't it? Because I think Keith mentioned it. You've obviously got the 1 point, but there's been spells in all those games where your performances have probably warranted a lot more than that. Would that be fair?
Well, I think so. The facts of the matter are we have got 1 point, so I'm not too worried about ifs and ands. We've got to change that and make sure we get the points. I always do think, and Woney, my assistant's got a saying, there has to be future in the performances, and I think there is a future in our performances. we have to add the detail. We have to take the margins and push them our way. We've had to do that historically here, and we probably will have to do that going forwards. And often that's the detail of the game. And I think if we can tune into that and get them right, then the general performance level has been pretty strong, I feel, and it will reward us as long as we've got to keep with them performances though. You know, you can't go back add detail but go backwards in your general performance. We've got to add on to the general level performance with the detail.
What's Maxwell Cornet brought? Because the other night I thought he was sensational, and we saw exactly what kind of player he is. He could have had 2 or 3 goals. He was pretty much everywhere, very lively. And has he sort of helped sort of boost the squad considerably since his arrival?
Well, I think you're looking to have players who can, I always say, affect the group in a positive way. Whether that's demand on each other to rub off and promote the players that are his performance, or they come in and promote their own. And he's had a good start. You know, he's still getting used to the football here. You know, with all due respect to Rochdale, it's a different task going to Leicester and playing against some of these sides. But I think he's handled the beginning part of his time here very, very well. He's getting used to the group. Is he enjoying the group? I think he looks like he's enjoying the training. I just had a chat with him actually. My fantastic French, like I do, and he seems to be enjoying his time here so far. I mean, it's early days yet, but he's certainly got that nice smile and that nice way about him, where he's certainly looking active in training, active in the games, and that's what you want. You want him to not only perform but rub off on others, the same as any other player.
How good's the French? Because we were speaking to Matt earlier. He said he didn't do any at school. He did German. So is French okay? Yeah,
it's similar. Me and Del Boy, probably about the same with our French. Ange tout, petit pois, and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm fantastic.
What about Leicester? They've had not the start they would have expected, but they're still a very strong unit, aren't they? A very strong opponent for you to face at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, over the years they've invested in some very good players. Brendan's got his stamp on it and done fantastically well. Like I say, a slightly more indifferent start, but I don't think anyone would be too worried about that with the players that they've got there, the manager they've got there, and the club. The club. I mean, it's turned into a very, very good football club in my opinion. You know, and from where it was, a few ups and downs along the way, but that happens. But from where it was many years ago, I mean, you know, fair play to the family and the way they've backed it, the way they've ingrained themselves into the club. And I'm sure, you know, our new board and our director and Alan, they're looking to do a similar thing, a version of that, maybe not the same levels of financial backing, but that kind of feel. You know, I know Alan's been around the stands here, been around talking to people in the boxes, you know, trying to get that feel, that connection with the people. And I think the family that own Leicester, they've done a fantastic job with that, and that's gone all the way through the club, it seems to me. You know, that feel of the club, and they've turned it into a very good concern.
It's a steady club, and that's what you're kind of building here. And the fact that you've extended your contract, speaking to sort of Matt about that as well, you know, it's key, isn't it, for any football club to survive in the Premier League? You've got to have that stability, and it starts with potentially at the top with yourself.
Well, it's been helpful here, because obviously I wouldn't be here if it wasn't helpful. But, you know, there's I mean, look, different models, different ways of looking at it. There's so many different structures and models in football now. I don't think there's always the exact perfect one. This club have wanted stability, and I've been the person who's found that for them. Other clubs want a different feel. They want, you know, the clubs can work on heavy change of managers and personnel and players, and that's what they do. So I don't think there's the perfect model. I really don't. I think it's whatever works, and different clubs find their way of making things work. And we've done a good job, you know, collectively at Burnley so far. Another challenging start to the season, but we've had that before. But generally speaking, the whole collective of many different people here have pulled in the right direction to make sure the club's in good health.